Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Mindset, Teaching Outside the Box. We're your hosts, Jillian Willie.
And Eileen Edwards.
And today we are talking about some ways to enhance your manifestation practice. So in a few episodes, we've talked about, in a few previous episodes, we talked about the manifestation process. So if anyone missed those or you want a refresher, feel free to go back and listen to those if you want to. But today we're going to talk about how to take your manifestations to the next level. So there are 3 tips that we're going to share with you today on how to accomplish this. So the first enhancement is visualization. So visualization is when you close your eyes, or some people don't even have to, and you visualize, you picture on the screen of your mind anything it is that you want, or in this case that you're manifesting. So what I like to do is I close my eyes, I put on some music, and I think very clearly about what it is that I want. And what's really important when it comes to visualization is to put yourself in the shoes of what you actually want. So, you don't want it to be like a bird's eye view where you're watching yourself, have the thing or live the life that you want, but you want to actually be the one doing the thing, living the life. So what I mean by that is, let's say you're manifesting a car. You would want to put yourself inside the car, and you would want to be the one driving the car, feeling what it's like with the wind in your hair. Maybe you have the music on, driving in, where you live so that it feels realistic. So you would want to be actually, living it, watching it from your eyes, your point of view. And it's a really strong practice because studies have shown that there is no difference between doing something in our physical reality life and doing something in your mind. There were actually studies that were done with people practicing basketball, and the people who practiced physically and the people who only practiced in their mind came out with the same results when they actually came to the physical. So it doesn't matter, if you're visualizing or doing in real life. So this is a really powerful technique to enhance your manifestation. And something you can do is put yourself in positions where you can actually experience what it's like to have the things that you want as much as possible. That way, when you're visualizing something that's actually happened, which can help. If it's something you have never had before, it's not necessary, but it can help. So going back to my example of wanting a new car, if you go test drive the new car, even if you're not planning on buying it right then and there, just by test driving it, you're going to have the experience, so then when you go to visualize, you can picture it because it's actually happened. So that can make the visualization a little bit easier, having had that experience.
That makes sense. Definitely the experience part. So I think I've said before, I don't have the ability to visualize, but I can imagine feeling. So I think that would be helpful.
Yeah. It just helps bring it to you, because as we've talked about before, one of the pieces of manifesting is believing. So the more you visualize, the more experiences you've had that are in sync with what you want. That kind of goes back to the constantly spaced repetition, because that's what visualizing is. In a way, it's one form of doing that. And it also is, the idea I was just thinking flew out. It'll come back to me. So I'm gonna go with something else. So something else when you're visualizing that's really important is giving as much detail as possible to the visualization. because that's just going to bring it to you even faster. Oh, I remember what I was going to say before. So with visualizing, your mind does not know the difference between real and imaginary or memories. So the more you're visualizing something, your mind is going to say, oh, this is a real experience that I have. This is my life. So it will be bringing it to you because that belief piece is being fostered. And the more detail you give, the more clear you're being. And also, the more detail you have, the more you're going to believe it because it's going to feel more real because, you know, you've got all those little nuances in there. So, you know, even thinking about, you know, what radio state, and I keep going back to this driving a car because I think people can relate to it. You know, what music would you be listening to? Where would you be driving? You know, what color car would you have? What does the interior feel and look like? You know, who's going to be riding with you? Do you have your family, your friends? You know, feeling the wind in your hair, you know, all of these little things, you know, and that's why too having the experience can really help bring it all together. Something else that's really helpful with visualizing is adding frequencies, and frequency is just sound. So adding music, and it could be a soundtrack that you just enjoy. It could be just a frequency, like just music that doesn't have words with it or anything. You can very easily go on YouTube and find a bunch of manifestation frequencies and just, you know, kind of pick one that feels good, that you enjoy. There's one, forget what it's called, that's really good. So maybe in a minute I'll look it up when Eileen is sharing something. But adding a frequency when you're visualizing enhances the visualization. And that can be true for anything, even when you're saying affirmations or a self-image script, or, you know, thinking about your goals. Frequencies enhance anything that you're trying to put into your mind, because as we've talked about before, we are always putting off a frequency and we're operating on a frequency. So frequencies can help get whatever it is that you're trying to manifest or auto suggest into your mind faster. So I'm gonna look that up real quick. Eileen, did you have any thoughts on that?
I hadn't really thought about the idea of having frequency kind of included in an affirmation or in the manifestation process, although it does make sense because we talked about frequencies before, and I've studied them a little bit in some of the work that I do. And there are different ones that kind of resonate with different things like the body or the earth, or so everything has frequency. And so it makes sense that that kind of would help the process.
Mhm. Yeah, and you can feel it. You know, when you find a good frequency that you resonate with, at least in my experience, I can feel it. I can feel that vibration, and I can feel the energy. And you're going to know that you resonate with it, even if you don't physically feel something. You're going to feel good because the frequency is going to raise your vibration, so you're going to feel good. So if you're listening to a frequency and say, wow, this is empowering, I just feel good, I feel happy, then you know it's a frequency that you resonate with. So the one that I really like for visualizing, I don't know if I'm going to say this right, Nuvale Bianche. I don't know if I said his name right. I will put it in our Facebook group so anyone can look him up. I found him on Spotify, so, and it's free. Really, really powerful, strong frequencies. So I will definitely get that in our Facebook group, so anyone can see how it's spelled. So another tip with visualization is to visualize at the same time every day. And that's really more to build it into a routine and to become a habit. You could visualize whenever you want in your day, but we are habits, creatures of habit. So if we get into a routine where, this time of day I visualize and it just becomes part of what you do, then you'll kind of make sure that you do it in the day, because it is such a powerful manifestation technique. So it can really help. But two of the most powerful times to visualize are right as you're waking up and right before you go to bed, because you're still semi in that deeper state. And that sleep state is one of the most powerful times to manifest. So when you're still in that, I'm kind of still waking up, or right as you're going to bed, if that's the last thing that you've seen on the screen of your mind, it's very powerful in helping your manifestations come to fruition.
Makes sense. We've talked about that with a few different things, even
Mhm.
doing our affirmations and list and stuff like that. So makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything that you're currently working on. Um, and the one last thing I wanted to share about visualizing is, if you're not necessarily manifesting something, or you don't quite know what you want, something you can do is just think about, what would your ideal day look like? Or, put out to the universe, I want to manifest joy, because who doesn't want joy? And if you're manifesting joy, then anything that you find joyful, you're going to manifest. So it's kind of a win-win. So you could just close your eyes, do the visualization and visualize what you would want your ideal day to look like. And then, good things will start coming to you too, and you might, get clearer on a manifestation. So that's something else that you could do as well. Um, okay. So the next tip that I have for enhancing your manifestation practice is feeling. And Eileen, and this does go, they all go hand in hand. And Eileen, you just mentioned a few minutes ago about feeling. So feeling the wish fulfilled. So one of the ways that we um, elicit a paradigm shift is autosuggestion, which we've talked about, that constantly spaced repetition, which is more of the visualizing. But the other one is emotional impact. So if you think back to a time in your life where something powerful happened, whether it was powerful in a good way or powerful in like a traumatizing or not so good way, it changes you. So the more feeling that you can add to a visualization, or feeling like you have what it is that you're manifesting, you're going to bring it to you a lot faster.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen a visual somewhere that talks about the different types of feeling and how those more on the extreme end feelings, of, love and things like that, that those are more successful in eliciting types of those types of things like manifestation. But the same thing with some of those other ones that are on the opposite end of the spectrum, because we can manifest things that maybe we don't necessarily want also.
Yeah. Yeah. The
With this,
stronger the feeling,
yes.
the more powerful. So the quicker it's going to bring forth a manifestation, whether it is what you are wanting to manifest, or that you manifest by default.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So one of my suggestions for that would be to figure out what you're manifesting, and then kind of write out, how would I feel? Put yourself in the shoes, kind of going back to that visualization step. And then, how would I feel? What would I do? How would I behave? What words would I say? And feel that, as much as you can. And this kind of brings me into the last one, which is living from the end result. And I think we've talked about this before,
Through
but this is
gratitude.
really powerful. Yeah, these are all really powerful. And I think this one can be a little more challenging because it almost feels fake, but that's that's kind of what you're doing in a way, but when you're fostering the belief, so at first it's going to feel fake, but the more you're living from the end result, the more you're going to believe, and it's not fake. It just hasn't caught up yet. Because the way manifestation works, we put it out there, this is what we want, and then there's a gestation period where your manifestations are building. Whatever needs to happen to bring it to you is happening behind the scenes. We just can't see it. And then it comes to us. So the life that we are living today is a document of past thinking. So what you've manifested today, or what's shown up today, excuse me, has manifested from something that you thought or felt, a month ago, a couple days ago, whatever, depending on how big it was. So the more you can live in the end result. So for example, going back to my car example, when you get into your car, kind of put yourself into, okay, I'm not driving this car, I'm driving my new car. When you talk about it, talk about your new car as if it's already yours. I'm actually doing this right now. I've been manifesting a new car, and tonight my husband and I were talking, and he said, like, when you get, or when you're, what did he say? I don't remember exactly, but we were talking about my new car as if it was already mine. He was like, you're gonna want this to protect the seats because of the kids, and your new car will be able to pull, the trailer and things like that. So talking about it as if it's already yours. What would you say, think, and living that way?
Makes sense. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying not to cough.
No, it's okay. It's all good. So these are really powerful, and they can bring your manifestations to fruition so much faster. And it's a practice. So just like anything, it might feel uncomfortable at first, but the more you practice it and the more you do it, you're going to find that it becomes more comfortable. And you'll see the difference in how much faster your manifestations come. Um, and it helps to foster the belief. So it's going to help with all of the little pieces along the way. Um, so yeah, Eileen, do you have anything else to add to any of that?
I was only going to mention the gratitude, but then that kind of came up during that
Mhm.
last piece. So
Yeah,
thanks.
yeah, gratitude. I mean, that feeling of gratitude is so powerful. So even being grateful for whatever it is before you have it, that is powerful. Giving gratitude for something that isn't in your physical, but you're manifesting, that's that feeling, it's the belief, it's living from your end result. It's the whole thing of it. And the more you think about it too, all of these things, feeling and living in the end result, because you're doing that, it's constantly on your mind. And what's on our mind is what shows up for us. The more energy we give something, then the more likely it is to show up. So if you're constantly living your life as if, yeah, I already have this, that's what you're thinking about, it's going to show up for you.
Yep, that makes sense. Total sense. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if anyone has any questions about any of this or wants any specific advice, how to use this in their own personal situation, feel free to reach out. This is kind of my wheelhouse. This is what I do. So, myself and Eileen, of course, we're totally open to helping anyone with anything that they need, or like I said, questions or anything. So, please reach out. And anything else?
I think so. Just grateful for people who come back each week and are listening, and not to forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then they can go ahead and join our Facebook group if they haven't already. We
Mhm.
also have a Facebook page now so that their members are able to share things. I know sometimes we share resources and then they ask, can I share this? So then our Facebook page will make that a little bit more easier.
Awesome. Yep, very good. So I am also grateful for everyone. Thank you so much, and we will see you next time.